Is being super tired a sign of depression? It feels like even my ADHD meds can't fight this off. Yes, but also, are you taking care of your body? Are you eating? Are you getting the macro and micronutrients that you need? Are you going to sleep and waking up at roughly the same time every day? Yeah, a lot of people are like, I don't get it, man. Why do I feel like I'm so sluggish? I feel like I'm moving in slow motion. I don't have the motivation or the drive to do any of the things that I want. And they're sleeping like at 4 a.m. every night, you know? What do you expect? Ugh. I always have brain fog. Guy who sleeps at random times with blackout curtains. True. Also drinking enough water. Yeah. Sadly, all the water in the world couldn't save me. I'm still a bit sick. I'm all stuffy. My throat's sore. Um, I'll talk for as long as I can. Yo. Mhm. How long does it take staying on the same schedule before the brain fog goes away? I don't know. Depends on the person. You should be staying on the same schedule no matter what. Like you shouldn't you're not doing this as a temporary reprieve from brain fog. It's just the right way to live. You know? Like how long before the brain fog goes away? I don't know, but you should be staying on that good sleep schedule for the rest of your life. It really does suck that eating well, sleeping at reasonable time, and exercising will fix most of your issues. Yep. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. High shelf. Thank you. Do you think they realistically just closed the entire DHS was created from 9/11 fear mongering? It feels like it was particularly bad from the start. Yeah, we legitimately do not need the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security does not, in any of its agencies, accomplish anything that was not done by previous departments. There is literally no function that it covers that was not being covered in some form. We already had Border Patrol. We already had intelligence agencies. Like we already had like everything they need to do that we need as a nation, you know? I'm not there are legitimate reasons to keep track of immigration, right? Border Patrol, this makes sense. You know, you want people to be in the system, you want the census numbers to be correct, you want people to have the ability to talk to the police, welfare, whatever else, right? You want people to be accounted for. You don't want people to just slip in between the cracks of society. But the framing that immigration enforcement is a matter of homeland security is and always has been Hitlerite shit. Immigrants are just not, they're just not that scary, man. They're just not that scary. Cat, that's true. Oh, 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 gotcha. What are you whining about? Are you whining about the injustice being experienced by the fair people of Minnesota? What are you doing? You look ridiculous. Mwah. Such a pretty coat in that one. Very, very pretty. Very pretty cat. Really, Lexi Glorp, that's so funny. Man, I am finding it so difficult to talk without feeling like every word uttered might blow up like a big bubble of throat phlegm. I'm not doing great. I took my Mucinex too, you know? Hold on. Ugh. We got to get through this one quick. Hello again, cat. The important thing is that you're trying. Yeah. Isn't that what Mucinex is supposed to make you do? Cough up the phlegm? I suppose so. Fucking spam texts. Spam texts. I can't focus. What's going on? Also, the DHS was created to stop terrorist attacks, but terrorism is low in the list of causes of death for Americans. Acknowledging any need for a DHS feels like a concession to the right by Dems. Well, also, the idea that you are engaging in anti-terrorism by policing the border is just ridiculous. Like I understand 9/11 happened, okay? But it's an association that is unfounded in reality, that political violence of any kind is typically directed against America from outsiders. Obviously, it would mostly be from insiders. Like, we already had the FBI. Completely unnecessary. Not everything's 9/11. No, in fact, only one thing was 9/11. Only a single thing. Is the new keyboard there yet? It should have arrived by now, but no, it's not. Just a late order, I suppose. I'm so fucking stuffy, dude. We gotta, like, put on a video so I can do me mama, or whatever exercises with the mic on mute, you know? I need to... Do you take melatonin? Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully, okay? Melatonin won't fix your problems. Getting 20 minutes of exercise sometime during the day will fix your problems. Melatonin is a cope from people who don't want to ask their doctor for sleeping pills, all right? And most people take too much. Not going to fix your problems.
We're joined now by the city's police chief, Brian O'Hara. Chief, welcome to Face the Nation.
You look happy.
Good morning, Margaret.
What have you been able to learn about the shooting? Because we did just hear the claims by Secretary Noem and Mr. Bavino and their version of what happened. Do the videos and evidence back up their descriptions?
So unfortunately, we don't have any official information from federal law enforcement about what has happened. Even when our officers initially responded to the scene, our watch commander was not given even the most basic information that is typical in a law enforcement involved shooting, just to ensure that there is potentially no other victims. Since then, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension responded to...
Hate to burst your bubble, but I'm healthier than the average person, but my body doesn't produce melatonin naturally. Why would that burst my bubble? Do you think being an exception to a general trend, like, defeats my argument? Do you think that this is a falter for me? If anything, the fact that it takes an actual lack of natural production of melatonin to justify the use of synthetic melatonin for you is kind of an affirmation of the point, isn't it? You know? And that'd be like if I'm saying to a bunch of people, like, you don't need to eat gluten-free bread, you don't have celiacs, and then one guy was like, I do have celiacs, you know? And I'm like, aha, well, there you go. You're the guy. Now join me and point to everyone else. You should be on my side. You should be like, guys, listen, I literally cannot produce melatonin. Trust me, this is not a general use case. But instead, you're trying to take it to me. What, you're trying to come at take a shot at the throne? You think you're going to take my channel? Do you think you've won? I know where you live.
To the scene at my request. They were blocked from the scene yesterday, but they have since returned to the scene and are now canvassing for additional witnesses and evidence that may be there.
So do I understand you saying that Minnesota has just begun its investigation today?
There were attempts yesterday to begin the investigation. I do not know what, if anything, was conducted yesterday. I do know that while they were at the scene more than once, they were not permitted to enter before the scene then was contaminated.
And for our viewers, Minnesota is a little bit different. There is this Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. That's the state agency that investigates use of force incidents. They are.
That's great. Well, I'll believe it when you file charges. How about a bit of good news? National Guard in Minnesota hands out coffee and donuts to anti-ICE protesters. Hello. That really is good news.
It's almost Valentine's Day. We get a shot of it.
Dude, the National Guardsmen seem so fucking normal and well-adjusted compared to the ICE guys. Like, every ICE guy is dressed to the nines in tactical, chud face, disgusting, repellent aura. These are just like dudes, you know? Remember, the National Guard in Minnesota are all wearing bright yellow safety vests to distinguish themselves from ICE. So I guess what we all have to look out for now is when the ICE agents start putting on those same yellow hazard vests to blend in, you know?
There we go.
Thank you all.
Let's see how it goes. I'm surprised that crispy one on the end hasn't been taken yet, but...
That is so nice. They look so friendly. Indian guy giving samosas to protest. How do you know he's Indian? Oh, I guess the tweet says it. Well, that's good. What matters is that everyone is having fun. It seems like so far the National Guard haven't done anything. Like, no confrontations between the National Guard and protesters, which is good. The last thing we want is confrontations between the National Guard and protesters. We do not, in fact, want that. The National Guard are actual civil servants. Well, the National Guard are just like regular people. They didn't sign up for the National Guard because they wanted to, you know, bludgeon immigrants or whatever. It's just a type of military deployment. For the most part, National Guardsmen are just like normal guys. They're not, yeah, Gestapo. Normal guys aren't perfect, you know, but they're a hell of a lot better than ICE. They're also likely citizens of Minnesota. Oh, yeah, 100%. Would a confrontation between the National Guard and ICE be preferable? Preferable, but unlikely. I doubt that ICE is stupid enough to antagonize National Guardsmen. Hey, internet lefties, what are people being mad about this? This is the style of counterinsurgency that made the U.S. the most dominant nation on Earth. The administration continues to be effective and effectual, works to confuse people. It's very, very parenti-pilled, very Twitter, very internet. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't really distinguish between these different groups, or they see everything as this. It's a weird kind of American diabolism that loops back around into belief. So I guess, in my opinion, I don't think I'm a very conspiratorial person, even though I say deep state like 27 times a stream. And I think the reason for that is because rather than believing it's a single cabal of unified interests that secretly direct everything, it's rather, in a materialist sense, in a Marxist sense, right, a set of material interests that guide the behavior of overlapping groups of people who have shared interests but might act in ways that are more in line with their personality. Like a good example of this would be, you look at the aristocracies of old Europe, right? Like, obviously there were a shared set of interests that guided the behaviors of the aristocracy of every kingdom. France, England, the German tribes, the Nordics, whatever. Like, no matter where you were, like, there were overlaps in their interests, you know? But you look at them in a more granular level, and oftentimes the aristocrats did things that were wildly contradictory to their long-term goals because they were stupid. A lot of these people were genuinely more interested in fucking their cousins than they were in, like, long-term regional stability, and when things went unstable, they paid for it, you know? It doesn't mean they weren't in charge. They were in charge. It just means they didn't They're stupid. They didn't do a good job, you know? Likewise, you have to recognize that even though the National Guard ultimately serves the same broader set of interests as ICE, doesn't always it doesn't always play out that clearly on a granular level. You have to recognize, like, what influences have these people been subjected to? And the influences that the average ICE agent have been subjected to, the incentives, way different than the National Guardsmen, you know? And that's just a fact. Of course, that fact doesn't mean that you can't be vulnerable to these kinds of, like, pacification tactics. It just means that you have to engage with this a little bit more thoughtfully. It's kind of like how the Republicans and Democrats, in a very broad sense, are part of the corporate uniparty, but they don't literally get together and agree on everything. Like, there are lots of Democrats, like, say, Nancy Pelosi, who, despite being an agent of that machine, despise Republicans, you know? There's a lot of friction and antagonism within that union. Complicated stuff. Wonder if things are ever gonna... I don't think she despised Republicans. No. The evidence suggests, I mean, based on what a lot of people have said from, like, behind-the-scenes interactions between Pelosi and Republicans, she genuinely hates them. But the reason she hates them isn't necessarily because they're fascist. It's because she believes they're, I don't know, less effective wielders of state power. I don't know, man. People are weird.
Tense protests continue to break out near a Minneapolis intersection where Border Patrol agents shot and killed a 37-year-old man this morning.
I heard about that.
The Department of Homeland Security says the man was carrying a semi-automatic handgun along with 2 high-capacity magazines and violently resisted being disarmed. Garrett Tenney is in Minneapolis with more. Garrett.
Yeah, John, so we moved from the site of the shooting over...
You know, I feel like I've heard what I'm going to hear from corporate media on this. Let me take a look at non-corporate media for a second, because I Googled Minnesota National Guard, and I'm being recommended 2 videos from Emma Lopez, a channel I'm not familiar with. Minnesota National Guard to detain ICE agents after shooting Alex Preddy? I don't think that's true. What are you saying?
Much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know?
Another life, period.
Federal takeover of the Guard and putting Minnesota's needs first. Just earlier this month, there was a tragic shooting where Renee Good, a 37-year-old woman, was killed by an ICE agent during what was supposed to be a routine operation. Video footage showed agents trying to forcefully get into her car, and despite no immediate threat, shots were fired.
I think this is AI, yeah. 350,000 views. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Oh my God, for sure, 100%. No. More views than my video. Well, on some of them. Yeesh. Black Panthers joined forces with National Guard. Okay, what are you saying? What?
I see a lot of people asking why the Black Panthers are going up against ICE for the immigrants. Well, I want to tell you something. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, the one that what they're
declaration after today's shooting to encourage the judge to rule officers that we have in the Minneapolis Police Department.
Partnership will help send ICE and Border Patrol. We're stretched thin, trying to stand federal officials tearing communities apart. Joining forces with the Guards were the Black Panthers.
Is this what people want? Is this what I need to pivot to?
Their party. Following Renee Good's death, the Black Panthers became visible at protests in places like Philadelphia, providing security, distributing resources.
So I guess this is it's AI. It's just scraping information off of like viral Twitter stuff. Those so-called Black Panther Party members are like feds, by the way, to be clear. One of their boys was talking to the media being like, you know, we're not here to protect illegal immigrants. Wait, all of them? As a general rule, you should be suspicious of people who are trying to cash in on name recognition. You know? Oh my God, it just has the picture down here. Wait. Dude, people fall for this? Man, that's depressing. I think I saw on Twitter recently somebody saying, like, this is the most viewed YouTube video. This YouTube short is the most viewed YouTube short in the past month. And it was like a video of a monkey stopping a bus full of tourists or something. And it was all AI. This type of content is overwhelmingly popular in all politics. In the Russian space, everyone hates on like the top 2 to 3 channels that are just fake news slop, but they rake in basically the same views everyone else combined. It's really depressing. It really does make you feel like we're entering an information dark age. Yeesh. AI homeless cat crying and panhandling on the street. Yeah.
David Noriega. We're also joined by our senior legal reporter, Lisa Rubin, former D.C. Homeland Security and Intel chief.
Has been intensely emotional, mostly from what I've seen, somber, mournful. Yesterday, we saw, I think, smaller crowds coming out to protest this than I and many people expected. Excuse me, Anna. I think that's attributable to a couple of things. First of all, there's less immigration enforcement activity happening, and it's those raids, those arrests that tend to bring people out into the streets, but also some of the folks that I've been talking to who are involved in the local...
What's the oldest video on that channel? They just hit the ground running? That's a good question, actually. Hold on. Wait, where was it? Did I just close out? Did I just close out of that video? Four months ago, Trump is targeting liberals again. 155 views. Guess it works better if you don't have as much of your AI face up there. Oh man, they hit the algorithm really quickly on this channel. Time to remake the Vosh pin. Just train an AI model on my likeness and my voice and just like phone it in. Wasn't there a content creator who did that? What's their name? These look like your thumbnails. These look like literally all. The reason these look like my thumbnails is because they're aping the style of every political YouTuber that puts out like quick news commentary. Like, yeah, of course. That's the whole point. Quebble Cop, that was it. That was it. Yeah. I don't think my videos don't typically include an arrow, okay? Well, let's not be distracted from the actual good news here, huh? If I was in the Minnesota National Guard, I would absolutely refuse to give any comfort to those protesting. Doing so validates the political leadership in a city and state who care more about their pretend power and image than they do about supporting the law. What the fuck does that even mean? They can keep on posturing all they want, but the truth is they are actively supporting sedition, and the men and women who are wearing the uniform of the Guard should know that. I, too, would refuse to commit treason. Let Waltz try to court-martial me. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering in their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Oh, these people. Insane edit of Will Stansel. That's actually hilarious. We should check in on him, man. This goes so hard. A right-winger made this? Why would they make him look so cool? That doesn't make any sense. The Patriots are regaining control of the Twin Cities. What is he known for besides this? Will Stansel being a shitlib. But we forgive him. For he is the strongest shitlib. MAGA military geniuses are talking about Minnesota protesters like they're the Iraqi insurgency, the Taliban, and the Viet Cong all rolled into one. Yeah, this happens basically anytime conservatives... I think it's a genuine 50-50 mix of deliberate dishonesty and mental retardation, where they will pretend that any kind of organized community effort has to be funded by George Soros, essentially. As a former Special Forces warrant officer with multiple rotations running counterinsurgency ops, both hunting insurgents and trying to separate them from sympathetic populations, I've seen organized resistance up close. From Anbar to Helmand, the pattern is familiar. Spotters, cutouts, dead drops, or modern equivalents, discipline comms, role specialization, and a willingness to absorb casualties while bleeding the stronger force slowly. What's unfolding in Minneapolis right now isn't protest. It's low-level insurgency infrastructure built by people who have clearly studied the playbook. Holy ChatGPT. Signal groups at 1,000 member cap per zone, dedicated roles, mobile chasers, plate checkers, logging vehicle data into shared databases. 24/7 dispatch nodes through vectoring assets, salute-style reporting, size, activity, location, unit, time, equipment on suspected federal vehicle. It is ChatGPT, though. This isn't spontaneous outrage. This is C2, command and control with redundancy. It is ChatGPT, 100%. The most sobering part, it's domestic. God, it's so easy to see. Yeah, the not X but Y thing is the biggest giveaway. If he's using ChatGPT, that probably means this is genuine grifting, right? Not just mental illness. What was that? Who was that guy on Twitter? It was yesterday where he was like Hearts of Iron 4 posting. He was like, "Don't worry, my brethren. Minneapolis is a siege, and the long war favors Trump." Did you see that? If somebody could find that post for me, please. Will Stansel owning it. This is actually a very accurate report on what we're doing, except for the outside assistance and lethal harassment part. It's a massive decentralized network. ICE cars enter the neighborhood, instantly pick up several tails, are logged, and are escorted out. It's hopeless. You should leave. Based. Amazing to watch the We Are the Storm guys paralyzed in terror of the density and sophistication of spontaneous neighborhood watches put together by pissed-off baristas and suburban moms. Conservatives when they encounter a high-trust society. That was it. Does Trump understand the existential nature of what's happening in Minnesota? I'm not sure he does, and it's maddening to watch. Either you crush these terrorist riots or you have no country. Invoke the Insurrection Act and do it now. Relax. A slow tempo favors the Trump administration. This is siege warfare. Minnesota is favorable ground for ICE. It forces Antifa to deploy extended supply lines in the cold in a small state. We want this to drag on for at least 3 months. It's a war of attrition. I really do... Man, I wish I could crack them open and see inside. I want to know, like, how much of it is real mental illness and how much of it is just, like, what do you mean? Antifa supply lines. Crack them? See what's going on up here. I want to know how much of it is mental illness. I want to know how much of it is grifting. It's impossible to know. A lot of these people are legitimately schizophrenic. You know, conservatism is a mental illness. I would sooner give a dog the right to vote than a Republican, etc., etc. It's true, though. A lot of people do believe it, but it's really, really, really difficult to get a read on how much conservative support there is for anything, because about at least 50% of the movement you see for conservative ideology on Twitter is bots. Seriously, if you look at any viral conservative post, any, literally any, on Twitter, and then you look at who's retweeting it, it is overwhelmingly like clear bots. No posts, first name, bunch of numbers, you know, no engagement or activity whatsoever outside of reposting. Like, that's their only job, you know? Signalgate donors list available for download. Politicians plus foreign leadership confirmed. And one of the files revealed by Cam Hybe, a resources file directs people to with money to a website, Stand With Minnesota, which in turn directs donors to a campaign ran by Tending the Soil on Chuffed. More about Tending the Soil later. The campaign is hosted by Chuffed, and the first donation came from Johnny Sapotiuk, a Canada-based community organizer who's part of Chuffed leadership and specialized in fundraising. He is most likely a central figure in raising money. What the fuck are we talking about? So yeah, it looks like a lot like foreigners are playing a key role in all this. It's Canadian money. I don't even understand what the point they're trying to make here is. The first donation came from a Canadian? That's it? Like, they're talking about, like, institutional ties, but then the thing they actually hook onto is the first donation came from a Canada-based community organizer. Like, my grandfather believes this stuff. Yeah, we got to disenfranchise a lot of people. They're going to win me over, man. I'm going to start posting like VHS tape 1980s edits of Americana with America if it had only 100 million people in it. And in my mind, it's just everyone right of center has been deported. They're all going to Mexico or Haiti. Send them all to Haiti. Don't send me to Haiti. Haiti already has a problem with violent gangsters. Yeah, but don't they need food? Speaking of grifting. Sorry, we're not getting to the stuff in the title just yet. Didn't it come out recently in court documents that Tectone, that Chud retard who has a hard-on for Hassan, he admitted that he pivoted to right-wing content because he was accused credibly of sexual assault? This is the guy who has a rapist, like famously rapist father, who then bragged that he was going to rape people like his father. Something like that. I don't know. He's not interesting. But he admitted in court documents, like, that it makes sense to pivot to right-wing content after you've been accused of that. We've been in deposition for over, and you only spent 15 minutes searching for tweet text and respond. I quote, yes. He defended his rants by saying, when a content creator in our space gets these accusations, they're referring to sexual assault, they have to pivot to pivot content to stay relevant. Then he brought up Hasanabi, saying like how when he shocked his dog. It's why this is like, if you ever want to know why I have disengaged from like the content creator beef cycle, it's because these people are genuinely beneath engaging with. You know, there's nothing they would love more than a nonstop 24/7 like pantomime brawl where they get to hold the attention of their 12-year-old / 65 IQ audience by beefing it out with people who believe things that they say, you know? I hate streamer drama because it's just distractions. I mean, streamer drama can be interesting if it's like people actually doing and believing things. But what are you supposed to do with this, man? Like the whole like rapist to right-wing pivot is like a 1-to-1. It happens literally every time. Okay, but I really would have loved your coverage of the LSF mod. You mean the Destiny guy? The Destiny mod guy? Asman is the biggest political creator on Twitch now. It's defo worth focusing on him and his friends. Yeah, but like the problem with that, I guess, is I don't know. It's just, it seems like they're beneath my understanding is that Asmongold's audience is mostly made up of like European right-wingers who enjoy by proxy the brutality the right is inflicting on the United States because they see it as like a foretelling of what they're going to do once they take power, like AFD types or whatever, you know? Where's that LSF video? Where's the original video? And not like watching Moist Critical talk about it. Maybe deleted it a little. I'm sure there's a rehosting of it somewhere. What video are you looking for? The LSF mod video. It was on Slate 2000's YouTube channel. Oh. Asman just watches his chat for vibes because he commits to a real... It seems like he just watches his chat for a barometer, and he pulls the most based right-wing take that he can get from chat. And if the temperature dials down, he reduces the take. So like that, because this has happened like 20 times. He'll argue with Hassan, and when he argues with Hassan, the temperature in his chat will like tune down a bit, partly because Hassan viewers will be there, but also because when confronted with a different viewpoint, there are more people willing to speak up and be moderate. And then Asmongold will like dial down his point in response, and then as soon as you leave, he dials it back up because all of the like resurgent neo-Nazis in his community get angry that he got cucked into apologizing or backing down, so then they like push him back into going back up. It's such a waste of time, you know. These people are so beneath consideration. The full video, 21 minutes long. Holy shit, I only saw a clip of it.
Hello, Spez, Mr. CEO of Reddit. I hope you have received this public video that I have created and sent to you via your email. If not, I hope anybody who cares about the topic in this video can get this to him in any way that you can. This video is about a topic of deadly seriousness, and that is of Reddit moderation and the state of your platform. But first, some background.
You asked for this.
I'm Brian, or Stale2000, or Tarot Card. I was the top moderator of your #1 gaming subreddit, r/livestreamfail, before I was recently removed from that position by the Reddit Code of Conduct team. I became a Reddit moderator for one reason, and that is because I think that Reddit communities and correspondingly its moderators have...
Why is he so smooth? He is very smooth. He's kind of like skincare mugging all of us, isn't he? A little bit? But he's the biggest right-wing commentator on Twitch, Vosh? Yeah, but like, what do you do with that? Exactly. I think that like it's like a shepherding technique, okay? the kinds of people who watch Asmongold aren't rational. They're not like decision-making agents, you know? They couldn't be trusted to vote or tie their own shoes. They just have to be socially broken into conformity. They don't like what they like because they believe it or because it's good for them. They're not acting out of self-interest or whatever else. It's performative spite, you know? It's fuck you, mom, you can't tell me to like black people. It's meaningless, right? It's based in nothing. These aren't the kinds of people who are going to have their minds changed through like a good argument or whatever. I think what you have to do is create an environment where they're miserable for being them, because they should, right? Like the thing they are is bad, you know. Much in the same way that it's morally necessary to create an environment where like murderers or I don't know, serial rapists, whatever, bad people, you know, they shouldn't be happy, right? You don't want to create an environment where they're able to ride that shit, you know, coast off it. You don't want people who are racist or misogynistic or whatever to be able to, you know, thrive socially either. The internet has made it very, very easy for antisocial people to find common ground with other antisocial people, even if they would not enjoy their company in person, right? Like, say what you will about the Ku Klux Klan, but at least those guys had to meet in person. I'm pretty sure the average Asmongold fan meetup, everyone there would be awkward and miserable and stinky. There's no common ground there, really. The shared spite is something that can only really ferment, if you will, in an environment where they're only engaging with that kind of content one way. It doesn't transfer into their day-to-day, right? So because it's so detached from their real-life experience and what they actually, you know, express, a lot of these people are closeted, you know. That's the reason why even now, even with Trump running the entire fucking federal government, the most common engagement that most people will have with conservatives is so-called moderates who are feigning you know, centrist political positions to avoid owning up to the fact they support Trump. Seriously, go on Hinge or Tinder, go find a person who has moderate political opinions, especially a guy, and then ask them, hey, who'd you vote for? You'll get your answer very quickly in most cases. Like, these people are not subtle. You know, they're aware of the fact that they're bad people and that they will be confronted for making that evident to others. You know, we just have to make sure they remember that and stick with it. And, you know, God willing, eventually they'll become better people.
Massive power and influence, and for some reason, nobody seems to notice, care, or take this seriously. Least of all, its moderators or the company.
Why are there 11,000 people here?
In this video, I will go over why I believe this, and I will also talk about a code of conduct moderation action that was taken against me due to good faith mistakes that I believe were caused by a clear lack of direct material support that the company gives its moderators. I will end the video by talking about what you, Spez, can do to fix this problem, as well as what I and other communities can do.
So give me a bit of background, okay? This guy was like an LSF mod. So this guy was like a big Destiny fan. He was in part responsible. So my understanding, LSF's mod team have had a bias for a long time. It is a drama subreddit, so they like drama YouTubers. And Destiny has for years been a very effective promoter of drama in that space, right? So I think there was a bias towards him to an extent. I wouldn't know, despite my, you know, quite large following. I've never really had a base in LSF except in ridicule. He promoted basically a giveaway scam on the LSF subreddit and got kicked for it. So was there not an association with Destiny? I heard that online. I think Hassan said it, but that doesn't necessarily make it true. LSF is just Hassan hate at this point? Yeah, because the average Hassan fan is like left-leaning, and left-leaning people wouldn't waste their time on a drama subreddit, obviously. You need like a very particular demographic of people, very young and stupid. What is LDF? LSF. A live stream fails. Live stream fails. He made a video about why he should be DDGer of the year. Oh.
Case Reddit does not solve this very serious mismanagement problem regarding the lack of support that is given to moderators. First, I will go over the code of conduct action and why I was removed as the top moderator of r/livestreamfail. This sounds like stupid internet drama, I know, but I'm going to talk about how this is a very clear example about how Reddit's mistakes causes very serious problems to Reddit's community and the company as a whole. Here's what happened. there was an announcement related to a live stream related game show called $1 Million Fan. It was basically a game show like Survivor or Big Brother, where fans of a streamer compete in different challenges with an influencer or a streamer for various prizes. The kicker here is that there was a grand prize of $20 million, supposedly. This was supposedly going to be aired on Amazon Prime, and it was also confirmed to be including a couple of mid-sized and large streamers like Alexandra and Andrea Botez, Extra Emily, Canute, and a few others. Additionally, the opportunity was supposedly brought to these streamers by a company called Mythic Talent, which is a well-respected streamer agency that represents hundreds of live streamers. I heard about the game show a few hours after it got announced by
well-respected and streamer agency is an oxymoron.
Major live streamers. It sounded like the perfect type of content for a live stream fail. I mean, reality TV, game show, live streaming, gaming, that's perfect for LSF, which is about fun, crazy content about kind of live streaming gamers. So when I heard about this, I was very excited. I immediately reached out to the organizers to see if we could set up some sort of a collaboration. This collaboration would just be to get cool content on the subreddit. No, financial incentives, no moderators being paid, basically none of anything like that, just fun, cool stuff for the community in the subreddit.
I'm fascinated. I'm sick. My nose is stuffy, my throat is sore. This is good for me, okay? In my mind, I have like a cup of hot cocoa here in my hands while I watch this,
Collaborations, the first obvious thing that came to mind was how do we get their content on the subreddit? Either some super fans or some editors could clip some cool hype moment from the show and then post it to the subreddit. But I also
go make yourself some hot cocoa. I can't spare the calories. My love, would you mind making me another double espresso? No, a double espresso. You could just rinse out the clay cup that's in the sink. I love you. You're not doing anything important, right? Okay. That doesn't sound that important. I love you.
I had a stretch goal, and that was, what if LSF could be part of the show in some way? I don't know, there could be like a LSF-themed best clip contest. Like contestants compete in one of the kind of small challenges, they make the best clip, and then somebody kind of wins a prize at the end. It was a stretch goal, though. So I reached out to the organizers, and to my surprise, they immediately understood what LSF was, what power it had, and they even agreed to the stretch goal of like the cool competition to have in the actual show. From my perspective, this felt like one of the coolest things that a subreddit has ever done. I mean, being in a freaking reality TV show in a topic that's directly related to the subreddit, how awesome. And then, maybe I could leverage this to get even more opportunities, either for our subreddit or for other subreddits across the entire platform.
He's lit in an interesting way. I think one of his lights died, and now he looks kind of villainous because only the light. He's only getting one of the.
That's how I felt, at least, and that's clearly not how it worked out. After they agreed to kind of a couple of these kind of requests that I had in my stretch goal, they immediately started moving very quickly. We wrote up an announcement and they wanted this out within like 24 hours. So we quickly worked to make an announcement together, and I posted it the next day. When I posted it, everybody in the comments—
why do man children always try to look as awful and off-putting as possible? I'm not trying to dog on his appearance too much. I mean, obviously his hair is a crime, and he should just shave it or do something with it, or go to Turkey or whatever. For me, I guess this is more of a like personality thing. But I do think there's a lot to be said about the fact that becoming an adult, like socially becoming an adult, a lot of it comes down to familiarizing yourself with a wide range of interpersonal situations that cause you to reflect on your behavior and hopefully become like self-aware in a way that makes you kind of self-actualized. Like an adult, I guess, in a colloquial sense, isn't just, will you turn 18? It's also like, can you handle yourself? And it used to be people could handle themselves way younger than today, right? Like, because life was harder, and it's obvious that the phone and the internet have made it harder for people to grow up, right? It's not just the economy or whatever. It's also like the internet is a tool that shields us from the harsh reality of real interpersonal situations and all the difficulties they bring, right? There is a reason why teachers will often make groups out of their classroom from people who don't know each other. There is value in learning. As a kid, you're like, well, why can't I be with my friend? But as an adult, you have to recognize, like, because interacting with new people is like the most important skill you can learn in class. Thank you very much, love. Beautiful. They saw. Anyway, I just see this a lot online. And by the way, this full 100% includes me. I'm not pretending that I'm above this, okay? I'm 31, nearly 32 years old. I'm a live streamer. 100%. And listen, I keep my old stream VODs up, okay? You can go and see. I've definitely grown a lot in the past 6, 7 years. In terms of like engagement with people or self-awareness, and certainly knowing how to dress. But I guess I don't know how to put this without sounding like I don't want to sound like I'm like, oh, I'm built different or whatever. I feel like a lot of people don't. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people refuse the call, I guess. And you have like an increasingly large percentage of society of people who, like this guy, seemingly have no idea how they come across to other people. It's not that this guy's stupid. I'm sure this guy's smart, right? It's more fundamental than that. People are afraid of social risk and they never test themselves. Yeah, people are terrified of social risk. I don't know. Maybe this is like too empathetic of a stance to take, because I think this guy's like a huge piece of shit. So I'm not trying to like, oh, he's just a victim of the internet or whatever. It's just interesting to me, you know?
Section immediately yelled, scam, 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 scam. This initially didn't actually worry me, because no matter what we do, people call it a scam. I mean, I've done AMAs with the Twitch CEO. People called that a scam. And I was also thinking, like, multiple major live streamers were involved. Mythic Talent was involved. Surely they had done their due diligence, right? Additionally, the thing that people were the most skeptical about was the $20 million grand prize. This initially confused me as well, but once I heard that, you know, Amazon Prime was allegedly involved, my initial concerns were assuaded. I mean, think about it. Amazon Prime has spent lots of money on tons of shows, and, you know, I didn't necessarily think that the show was worth $20 million, but, you know, that doesn't mean that Amazon Prime wouldn't fund it. And, you know, if LSF was involved, maybe it would actually succeed. You know, maybe my involvement...
You talk a lot of smack for someone without a glowing purple aura. That's true. I'm not even designated by reality as epic loot. What do I have to say to this guy? I was never head mod of LSF, or one of the head mods of LSF.
Alone could make the $20 million kind of investment worth it. Who knows? At least that's what I thought. Now here comes the next part of the story, when things get a little crazy. The next day, a major live streamer who was involved in the show, Extra Emily, said on her stream that she kind of saw all of these comments about people calling it a scam, and they even saw that, you know, LSF was involved, and this was apparently unacceptable to her, so much so that she was considering kind of dropping out of the show, or kind of looking into seeing if kind of the whole thing was a scam or not. After seeing this, I brought the concerns to the organizers, and the organizers told me that they were currently in talks with the agents to resolve this, and they told me in no uncertain terms that the show was not canceled and was still going on. So me being somebody who didn't really have a lot of, you know, information into the situation, and me, you know, trusting these high-powered agents who represent
socialists are supposed to socialize. That's true. For years, I was a little bit miffed that I wasn't included in the LSF circuit, even though I'm a live streamer and I've had my fails. But over time, I've really come to appreciate just how much I've benefited. Yeah, I'm not missing much, you know? It is a wretched kind of space. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's gonna linger with me for a long time. Tectone admitting in court documents that he pivoted to right-wing content because he'd been accused of sexual assault. That is so, like, I bet a lot of you don't watch other streamers, like, because I'm not a Twitch streamer, I'm a live YouTube streamer. But Tectone has just been like non-stop trying to drama farm off of Hassan. But listen, whatever problems you might have with Hassan, one thing you got to recognize, everyone is always trying to take a bite at him because he's like the big lefty streamer. Tectone always, every day, some new tweets, some new bullshit, always stupid. And then it's like, yeah, just right there in the document, you know, just straightforwardly in text on paper. Yeah, you have to pivot like that when you've been accused of sexual assault. Jesus. Los Pollos has been backpedaling. I don't even know what that is. Who the fuck is Los Pollos?
And these multi-million-dollar kind of celebrities, I trusted that they would kind of get to the bottom of this and kind of resolve these concerns quickly. During this time period, I saw and deleted a lot of unsubstantiated claims about the show and the mod team. There were accusations that I knew to be untrue, such that, you know, the mod team had accepted bribes or, you know, had some
lolcow guy who thinks he deserves to live. Okay, gotcha. You know, genuinely, I think one of the reasons why right-wing content creators are so fucking crazy is because all of them are, in the eyes of their own audience, lolcows, with basically no exceptions. Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, all the alt-righters, literally all of them, they're all always low. Like, again, I'm like a super controversial guy in a lot of spaces, but my audience, the people who watch me like actively, you all like me, right? Sorry, that sound like I was asking for affirmation there. Let me say it more confidently. I know you guys like me. There's not much of a lolcow element to the... Yeah, no, okay. You're all gonna be buffoons over this. I know. Yeah. You have fun with it. I'm not gonna fight with you over this. The engagement with my audience is not one in which a significant portion of them are rooting for my downfall. But with right-wing content creators, all of them have that dynamic with their audience, and I feel like that has to be incredibly psychologically corrosive. Does that make sense? It's crazy. Like, again, I've been at this for like 7 years now, which is fucked up, by the way. 7 years, okay? But a lot of right-wing content creators have these like blips of attention that only last a year or two. Look at Clavicular. The like guy who does meth or whatever, he's already a lolcow. It took no time with him. He went from like, yeah, my thing is that I'm looks maxing, I'm gonna die at 30 or whatever. Now everyone just makes fun of him. He had like no time there. No time. I saw a clip the other day. He was at the club with a bunch of Nazis in Miami. They were playing the Kanye West Heil Hitler song. And right after that, I saw a clip where he looked like he was tearing up because his dad texted him to accost him for his ketamine habit or something. It was like insane. It's insane. These people's lives are all fucking insane. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate used to be on top of the world algorithmically. They were massive. Now what are they doing? They're going to a Miami club playing the Heil Hitler song with fucking Nick Fuentes and Sneeko. Where's Ice Poseidon? Bring out everyone, man. Jesus Christ. With some kids. With some fucking children, man. Their viewers don't respect them. It's a hellish existence. Dude, I like, it's gotta be, like, really rough for them. That you have a life cycle of, like, 1 year in the public eye where you're actually, like, considered a threat. And then after that, it's just a growing crowd of people who laugh at you for being a has-been and are rooting for your downfall. Dude, look at fucking Jordan Peterson. Tim Pool has been a lolcow for years. The only right-wing content creator I can think of that did not have a significant in-group lolcow designation was Charlie Kirk. That's all I can think of. And the reason for that was because he was so affiliated with the mainstream GOP that he had a broad enough base that he could avoid the kinds of online conservatives who would turn you into a lolcow. And look what happened to him. And they killed him for it! And they killed him for it! He was the one guy. He was a lolcow to the Groypers, but to the broader audience, he was just like a guy, you know? They all have their 1 year. It's got to be rough. I'm sorry, I know this is like a rambling bit. It's just like, it's insane that any of them choose that life. They're all so fucking miserable.
Sort of financial involvement with the show. And I knew they were not true because I was the one who had...
Sorry, Vosh, real quick, you mentioned Destiny earlier. Do you have any comment on him calling for his fans to publicly harass Hassan just because Hassan criticizes Democrats? Listen, I gotta level with you on this one, okay? This has got to be like the 5 billionth time he said that. Was that the first time you heard him say that? That can't be the first time you've heard Destiny say that, right? That's like the first time, like this is just like a normal, my opinion on it. I don't know. I guess I assumed he did that today and yesterday and the day before, kind of taken it for granted a little bit, you know?
Had this idea the entire time, you know, from start to finish. This happened a couple days. And what I can tell you, for those who, you know, may not believe that for most moderators, I'm a highly paid software engineer working in San Francisco. I do not need to take a couple $1,000 bribes from, you know, random internet scams. Okay. I was doing this because I legitimately, you know, care about the subreddit, and that's why I spend my time on it. I thought it'd be kind of cool events for the sub. I'm talking about this in kind of the deleted comments because this is apparently some big no-no in the Reddit TOS or something, or maybe it's like an unspoken rule where...
Don't forget Caitlin Bennett. Dude, don't forget, what's the name of the stupid bitch from the University of Oklahoma who is illiterate and got dropped like 5 days after her moment in the light? Full Necky. Yeah, Full Necky. That's right. Already gone. You know what's honestly kind of surprising? I'm surprised that Riley Gaines has stuck around this long. Maybe for her shamelessness. Like, Riley Gaines, not even the slightest semblance of principles and no job prospects once this is done. So she's probably going to ride this out for as long as possible. She was in the fucking Got Whole Milk commercials from the Department of Health.
If you're involved in some sort of promotion and it ends up not working out or ends up being a scam or something, you know, if you have deleted comments that have accused...
Oh my God, is that what Destiny looks like now? Yes, this is Destiny's drama video after being ousted from LSF.
...of being a scam.
Prove me wrong.
Well, that, you know, shows a cover-up or some way. It shows malice or bad faith or something. So that's why I'm kind of talking about this, is because this was specifically a reason that was brought up regarding why I was kicked out as a mod on a livestream fail. And finally, I want to end this part of the story by talking about how Moist Critical made a video critical of the situation. And then about 30 minutes after this kind of video got released, I got reached out by the organizers of the events and told that 5...
that chatter was being dishonest. It was because he went on a journey to China and defended censorship. Paid journey to China. Oh, God, come on. You don't have to defend this, man. Destiny is called for fatwas against Hassan for like every reason. It's not for a specific reason. It's for like a wide range. Come on, this happened a lot. It's not for anything specific. Dude, I criticized Hassan for glazing China too hard in that trip, but like I don't know, man. It's a little much.
Live streamers in the event had dropped out, and that therefore the event was canceled and I should take down the post. In this video that Moist Critical had that was critical of the event, Moist Critical brought up points about how an image on the marketing page was AI generated, or that the domain name was registered in Iceland, or that basically just the whole thing
I just realized I don't care about this anymore. You know what? This has been really refreshing. This has been like a nice, like, catch-up a little bit. A break from the news. It's been a reminder that I'm part of a broader live streaming community. Kind of like, you know, looking back down at Horizon level to remind myself that I'm in a toilet filled with shit, but been a nice throwback. Maybe we will. Right now it feels exhausting because I am really fighting a sore throat right now. It would be nice to dip my toes into like some live stream, like culture stuff a little more. Like the Tectone stuff, the Los Pollos, somebody said. I'm sure there's some interesting stuff to engage with there. I find Asmongold like uniquely boring. Like there's nothing there. It's pliable nothingness. But you know, I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Let me see how it closes.
It smells as. The rest is to the community. To the community, Spez and Reddit, they're almost certainly not going to fix any of this. All of this is up to us to solve. For anyone who this message has resonated with and wants to solve this problem, well, I have created a subreddit called r/SubAlliance. SubAlliance will be a nonprofit, volunteer, community-based initiative to solve all of the problems that I have laid out. We will create tools and resources.
Maybe I should go on LSF more often. LSF in my own subreddit. Dude, it's like all Asmongold right now. Destiny, all the officers involved in Alex Pretty's killing should be charged with murder. Yeah, that's objectively, yeah, that would be the case. That would be the case if they were regular people. Yeah, they would be charged with felony murder because they were engaging in a felony, which I think they were, assault or battery, when Alex Pretty was murdered. Would you want to have actual orbiters, Vosh? I really dislike... Okay. This is going to sound like really conceited, I guess. The thing that I like most about my job is freedom. I love being able to talk and express myself and communicate, but the idea that every day I get to decide what I want to talk about is so important to me. And the thing that I hate most about the drama isn't actually antagonism. I think the antagonism's pretty fun, to be honest. It's the obligation. It's the obligate element, right? Where you wake up, you check your subreddit, and it's like, oh, did you see this guy said this about you? And in your head, you know, they're just saying it, right? But you get caught in the cycle, and then you have to respond, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. It's that to me is very, very, very tedious. It's like an addictive poison. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. That does bother me a lot. And inevitably, it all gets really repetitive. It's good for the engagement, don't get me wrong, but... Yeesh. What else do we have here? Destiny learns about who kills ICE the most. Well, nobody's yet killed an ICE agent. Do you mean like COVID? Like COVID has been the thing that's killed more ICE agents than any other? Yeah, okay, they're referring to COVID. Why does it not embed the video? I have to click? Is it a YouTube clip? Does Destiny stream on YouTube? I thought he streamed on a Kick. Why is it loading so slow? Oh, I have the fucking Proton VPN thing up because I never turned it off.
So end of 2020, early 2021. How are these guys dying of COVID? That would have been like past Delta, no? Okay, whatever. Okay, so that was Pete. So we've got 2 cancer deaths, 2 COVID deaths. Brian, complications related to COVID. Okay.
Arc Raiders? Yeah. Everything's loading so slowly, man. Hold on, let me turn off the Proton thing. Disconnect. Does that make it go faster? Not really. Maybe a little? I don't know. Asian streamer Sifu RP gets banned on Twitch for promoting Asian hate and stereotypes.
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't say. Just Asian. It doesn't say. Promoting Asian hate and stereotypes. That's all it says. That's all it says. Here's the thing, right? They probably don't even take.
What do you?
I don't know.
But what do you do? Probably got suspended for suggesting Vader name his new GTA RP character Ching Chongerton in Twitch chat a week ago. In Twitch chat? You can get banned on Twitch for that? That's nothing. Dude, Twitch is so fucked up, man. Imagine being an Asian guy, and this is your job. Like, you pay the rent with your stream, and then you go into chat and you say that, and then you're like, you're out a month of rent? Jesus Christ. That's some woke one behavior. Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck is happening in the I have no clue what is even escalating this. Like, it's like a single. This is why all the time you see these bootlicking fucking losers like Sean who are out here, or Connor who's like, oh, well, just don't fight with cops. Well, what the fuck was this guy? I don't even know. Like where
this guy didn't even really fight.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy didn't even I don't even think he was being aggressive in any way, size, shape, or form. Also, by the way, when you see all of these like subhuman snakes, okay, who are talking about, who are so mad at people filming ICE or whatever, the only reason we know everything that happened in this video, the only reason we know from 52 different angles all the different fucked up parts about this is because there are people that are out there recording. That's why they don't want these people out there. Because again, imagine we have one grainy piece of video footage, or imagine we have nothing. You know, what were we told by
He had a gun.
Kristi Noem, by Donald Trump, by Indian Patel, that these guys fucking get up here?
Like, okay. What? Why can't I be on LSF for stuff like this? This isn't drama content. Destiny goes off in the ICE murder of Alex Preddy. I've done this. I'm just saying. You would be hated like Hassan is on there? Yeah. You're not enough of a locale? That's technically true, but only by a matter of degrees. It's actually a very weird dynamic. A lot of people watch Destiny rooting for his downfall. Not a lot of people watch me rooting for my downfall, but I bet you that if I was on LSF, a greater percentage of people who watch the clips from there would be rooting for my downfall than watching Destiny, right? It's a weird dynamic. I don't really understand. Because you're not on Twitch, my dude? Neither is Destiny! Wait, is he? No? Okay. Oh, that's kind of nice. 80,000 likes. Moist Critical, you would catch more rapists and pedophiles if you took ICE and brought them to the White House. Objectively true. 80,000! It can't be like that Asmongold controlled, right? If that's, I doubt anything pro ICE is getting even a tenth of that much. This is why Vosh doesn't grow. Okay, I've got like over 500,000 subs and consistently like 10,000 people watching me. I'm doing all right. It's getting fucking peanuts thrown at me from the gallery a little bit. I think I must be some kind of entertaining. Washed up. Yeah. This might have so many likes because it went on r/all. It might have broken containment and gotten the like normie lib upvotes.
This point that they're trying to beat into the empty minds of a lot of people that are trying so hard to justify it is that the only people being arrested and targeted by ICE are rapists and pedophile illegal aliens, which is just not the case. There definitely have been rapists and pedophiles that
500,000's really good job, but you're coping if you think you haven't stagnated a bit. This is what I mean about the internet stemming social growth, because how do you think that's an appropriate way to talk to somebody, man? What the hell? That's so rude. You're coping if you think you haven't stagnated a bit? What matters the most is views per month. Because there are a lot of people who see sub growth, but then it tapers off because it's a burst of interest that's not sustained. I have sustainable interest, okay? However, I will acknowledge to a point here, okay? I think there are people, they have these bursts of growth. I think I've held on to my existing audience very well. I'm very proud of that. Thank you. You know, good, consistent. Man, honestly, considering all the shit I've had to put up with as a content creator, all of the fucking bridge burnings, I have like no outreach potential in any existing field, okay? It's fucking crazy how hostile the broader space is. Given all of that, I think we've done some pretty good work here. And you know what? That's a collective effort. You guys are pretty cool too.
have been snatched up in all of this. And those rapists and pedophiles that have been caught and taken away, that's good. They shouldn't be out there breathing the free air. Great. But that's not all that's happening here. You could also right now march into the White House and arrest everyone in the White House, and you would get a ton of rapists and pedophiles. Why isn't that happening? If the goal is getting rapists and pedophiles off of American soil, thrown in the slammer, taking them away from society, why is it only just walking through the fucking streets of Minnesota trying to do it? You would get significantly more rapists and pedophiles if you took ICE and brought them to the White House. And an administration is...
Why is this in live stream fails? That's a great question. Why aren't I in there? Again, it probably wouldn't be good if I was.
His analysis fell apart so fast.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy for saying, like, that doesn't look like a gun to me?
All 6 pixels
like, if
of
I
it?
zoom in...
Are you serious? Ah. Aha. Oh, stretch them a little. Stretch the pixels.
I don't know. Like, how the fuck can anybody tell that's a gun for sure? How are people going off of this and being certain? How can you be certain off of this? Okay, keep watching. Okay, let's keep watching. He does have the gun for sure. Absolutely 100% that's the gun.
His analysis fell apart so fast.
It's okay. We should go on LSF more often. I need to. It was a Jewish doctor. Yeah. And I need to what I need to do is get over my, because it's like in my heart it's overwhelming, right? It's like a black void of hate, right? Which like no conservative should be able to vote. All of these people are low IQ voids who believe in nothing. They're only saying shit to get attention. They have no consistent principles at all. It is undignified for me, a person who believes in things, to have to subject myself to the opinions of people who don't. You know, if I could get over that, and this is why I've always said Destiny's stronger than I am. Probably not physically, but I don't know. He could be hitting the gym. I've been doing the calisthenics lately, so that does count for something. But if you know, he's stronger in that, like, he's got to have more hate in his heart than me, right? He's a vengeful, spiteful motherfucker, but he still gets up there and engages with these people. That's crazy to me, you know? All right, we gotta like reset for a second. We have to reset a little bit. Hold on 1 second. LSF blast from the past. Okay, we're marking that down really quickly. We're resetting. You should watch Destiny's debate against Drew Pavlo. Holy shit, are we resetting or are we just rewinding? That sounds really funny. Drew Pavlo is funny because he was pulling the shitlib thing for ages, and then as soon as it became profitable, he just pivoted into being a right-wing grifter. I saw his recent tweet. He was like, I traveled all the way from Australia to New York City to say Zoran Mamdani is not my mayor. Really good stuff. Really, really, really good stuff. So hold on. Is it Destiny versus Drew Pavlo, or Destiny and Nicholas Decker versus Drew Pavlo and Rando Groiper? And also, isn't Nicholas Decker the guy who wrote Substack articles defending zoophilia? Isn't he that guy? Can somebody confirm or deny? Isn't that Nicholas Decker, or is that a different person? We all have a past? I don't know how much in the past it is. Holy shit, this is 2 hours long. What the fuck? Why? Wait. Why is this on Destiny's subreddit, but then it links to not Destiny's channel? That's a bad mix-up. Poor guy catching strays. Well, am I right or am I wrong on that? I thought that was the person I was thinking of. Wasn't he the guy who wrote the article saying, "When must we kill them"? Wasn't that him? Why is this linking to no? Yes? That was him, I'm pretty sure. Okay. You people are driving me crazy right now. Yeah, it was him. Yeah, that's the guy. So why is this not on Destiny's channel? Who am I giving views to right now? What the fuck is this thumbnail?
You have the mic again. You've claimed there's civil unrest. Give us your argument. In the meantime, we are joined by Nicholas Decker.
Whether it was a good or a bad shoot. Even if you think it was a good shoot, they lied about all of the circumstances surrounding the event. And
audio things. Okay.
It's like if you said that somebody's lying because, like, they said someone's like a really, really evil, bad person. When
here's Destiny's video. Why wouldn't the thing? This is 3 hours and 24 minutes long? Holy shit.
We all know that these kinds of
collect welfare at higher rates than both legal immigrants and not, native-born citizens, right? Because their children, based on the doctrine of birthright citizenship, are citizens and they collect.
See, I love you, Drew. I love you the most.
Okay,
I love you.
We found some points of agreement on there being increasing returns, and we've isolated the real cause.
The purpose of that is obviously to help people who they're seeking like evade capture. So yeah, that's interference with law enforcement.
So when there's on my app, my phone app, my driving app, and there's a alert that there's a speed trap up ahead, is that illegal obstruction?
Yeah, I've actually always thought that was ridiculous. Every time I see
watch the highlight reel at the beginning. Maybe I'll just watch the highlight reel. My interest in this is waning. The panel, the like group panel shit, I can't do that, man.
We all know that these kinds of anarchist groups, they're not as organized. For example, oh, this is just retarded. Destiny is literally retarded. Destiny is a cuck. He has been cucked so many times. His wife divorced.
They went into a church.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion. I'm hearing this for the first time. I don't have an opinion on it. Sorry.
Have gone too far at all from what you've seen?
No, I haven't heard any examples of that, so I'm not sure.
They attacked.
I haven't heard anything about that. Sorry, I haven't heard anything about that, so I'm not sure. Can't really have an opinion on it.
It was one of the most high-profile incidents of civil unrest in
Minnesota. No, I haven't heard anything about that. No, I haven't heard anything about that.
We're debating.
I'm sorry, I haven't heard anything about that. I'm sorry, unfortunately.
And this was the most high-profile incident of civil unrest over the past few days. It was extremely viral on Twitter, which you use all the time.
Oh, interesting. Wait, so then was Renee, was the ICE agent that killed Renee, was his car stuck in an ice bank? Social security numbers. It depends.
It depends. If you look at
what does net mean? Drew, what does net mean? What is net? Net. N-E-T, net.
You're actually extremely obnoxious. You can't even have
because you're extremely retarded.
All right, I think I've had my fill for a short time. Oh, good Lord.
Trust this administration.
Getting the itch? God, no, Jesus fucking Christ. No. Oh my God, did you see how the moment Drew Pavlo had a question thrown at him that he didn't have an NPC dialogue tree branch to cling to, he just started calling Destiny an obnoxious cuck? It's so fucking annoying, man. None of these people believe in anything. They have no beliefs. I don't know how you live like that. All right. Anyone else get brain herpes from that? I already had brain herpes. Okay, we need a fucking reset and do the shit in the title, and then I need to go and stare at a wall for a while. I need to go stare at a wall for a while. Before I do that, want to see something cool? Really quick. We're doing a really quick reset. Super quick. Super quick. I thrifted a vintage Pendleton wool Western shirt. And it had like a fuck ton of iron-on patches on it that I had to remove. Here. I only saw one of them in the store, but it had patches like everywhere, man. It had patches in the elbow. It had 2 patches down by the hem. This thing was like super worn in. I really like the color. And I'm going to try to use it. I'm going to try to learn how to do some like patching and sewing and stuff. I don't really think I can wear this over a sweatshirt. Like Western shirts tend to be pretty slim, so it's not going to like fall properly. But I really do like the color. Look, it's got some big old holes. I do like the colors a lot. All over the goddamn. So you can see them like right here too. So I'm going to have to learn how to patch these up. One of the fucking buttons was glued on. Like it had come off at some point, and they used a bunch of like hot glue to shape the button back into place. So I had to scrape all that out. I'm going to figure this thing out. It's so worn. Look, the collar is like yellowed at the back because of the oxidization. That's from the oxidization of the oils that your body leaves on clothing or some shit like that. It'll be fun to learn to put it back together. Oxidization? Yeah, when oxygen comes into contact with it. Super, super well worn, well loved, you know? Greg Bavino's being yanked out of Minneapolis. Well, that's good. What if we did politics? What if we did politics? Huh? All right, a cat's doing something cute, apparently. You know, this is like an actual job. All right, that was actually worth it. There's an outdoor cat, and right now they have like climbed up to the back of a chair to stare in through a window, and they're 1 inch away from the face of Bagheera, and Bagheera's yowling like a mad woman. Where kitty? No. They're interacting right now. Okay, they're interacting. Who's the outdoor cat? I don't know. It is true, Dalgrave. What is the name of the cat? We demand to know the name. What if you demanded to do politics? Wouldn't that be cool? Really quickly, though, before we get to that. Yep. There we go. You guys see Kanye West's apology letter? It's pretty funny. To those I've heard. He took out a full-page advertisement in the Wall Street Journal. He's a mentally ill grifter. Well, he's mentally ill. I don't think he's a grifter. I don't really think there's much evidence suggesting that he's faked, that he's doing what he does for money. Like, wouldn't it have made more sense for him to just continue being one of the most famous music stars on the planet? You know, when I feel like if his interest was in money and power, he would have just kept doing what he was doing for attention, not money. But he had more attention back when he was a well-respected, like, look, I don't think he's a grifter, okay? He's just mentally ill, man. That's a big old letter. Big old letter. Look at that. By Yi. Yi. 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Now, I'm not going to say the race of the doctor who did not do scans of my brain 25 years ago. Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system, denial. When you're manic, you don't really think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality you're losing your grip entirely. This is true. Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. This 100% reads like it was written by him, which I appreciate. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off when, in fact, this is a very serious, debilitating disease you can die from. According to the WHO and Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shortened by 10 to 15 years on average, and a 2 times to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. This is on par with severe heart disease, type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help. It makes you blind but convinced you of insight. You feel powerful, certain, and unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I loved the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to love someone who was at times unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall, that lead to poor judgment and reckless behavior that often feel like an out-of-body experience. This, to me, is... I kind of like that he's mostly just talking about his brain and not about his politics, because it was really obvious that his... behavior had nothing to do with his politics. Like, if you are even a little bit familiar with mental illness or bipolar disorder in particular, all of his white nationalist, Heil Hitlering, his song, the swastikas, whatever, had nothing to do with some kind of like manifest political belief, and everything to do with a mentally ill man gravitating towards the most destructive symbols he could think of. So I appreciate, I guess, the fact that this isn't really like a deconstruction of the bigotry, because it was never actually about the bigotry, you know? Also, did everyone around him just let him rip? Yeah, like, okay, this is actually a really fucked up part of being any kind of famous, is that everyone around you is incentivized to be a yes man, because the consequence of trying to cut you off from the path that you're on is often yourself being cut off. So, like, he was failed by basically everyone around him, right? Like, the people who dropped him were the people being responsible, and the people who stayed with him were the... Like, look at what Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos did, right? They took advantage of Kanye at, like, the height of his Nazi mental illness and started like pushing him to do shows to talk about his beliefs, like, because they wanted to be seated next to him, right? The people around him were the ones taking advantage of him. Candace Owens as well. Alex Jones. I regret and am deeply mortified by my actions in that state, and am committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. Yeah, sure. I genuinely, like, I have never for a moment believed that there was some kind of underlying sincere belief explaining his behavior. I just don't think, I don't think that's the case. I'm not saying what he did wasn't bad or hateful. I just, like, it's not motivated by belief. Sorry, I don't care, still a Nazi. He's dangerous because his brain is broken, but, like, there is a difference between... How do I put this? There's a difference between mental illness exacerbating hateful tendencies in a person and mental illness drawing a person towards maximally controversial statements as a way of coveting attention, right? Like, mental illness might make a racist a violent racist. And even if they get on their meds, a racist they remain. But in my opinion, I think that the evidence with Kanye over and over and over and over again has been that he's a victim of his mental illness, that it drives him towards shock and sensationalism, but it's not really manifesting underlying biases as much. I mean, not to say that he has no bigotry or whatever. So, for example, one thing that Kanye definitely is a misogynist. Many such cases, I guess. Like, that's definitely, like, the mental illness might exacerbate it, but that's a very persistent tendency. Isn't your big criticism of right-wingers that they have no beliefs? Yeah, but I don't know what that has to do with this. In this case, it's not that he has no beliefs necessarily. It's just like he was and is extremely mentally ill. It's just a different kind of thing. There are some right-wingers who are just extremely mentally ill, but that's not really kind of a different kick, you know? To the black community, which held me down through all the highs and lows in the darkest of times. The black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I am so sorry to have let you down. I love us. In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore. Having bipolar disorder is not a state of constant mental illness. When you go into the manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you are not in an episode, you are completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Different people speak of being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories and realized that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world that I am not bipolar but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. My words as a leader in my community have real global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regime of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound much-needed clarity. I am pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing, design, and other new ideas to help the world. I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask... Hey, your cat battles. To ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. Yeah. Honestly sounds pretty sincere. Yeah, I mean, the issue isn't necessarily the sincerity. It's just like, is he going to do it again? Because this could be sincere, and then he could do it again. That's how it works, right? It's not, it's not like if he reverts back to the worst behavior, it doesn't mean he was lying here. It just means he kind of lost the battle a bit. So yeah, hopefully he gets on some better meds. No. He also needs a better inner circle. Yeah, no, for sure. Kind of sad. It's weird how he kept saying his doctors are lying. Is he still doing anti-Semitism? No, my guess is that his frustration with doctors being dishonest with him was one of the things that prompted that particular expression of anti-Semitism. But the frustration that doctors aren't being straightforward with him, to me, is probably a real frustration that he's just attached sensationalism to. You know? How the fuck do you get to the point of flying to Mar-a-Lago to eat dinner with Trump and Fuentes? Well, I mean, a lot of you probably just haven't experienced super strong bouts of mental illness. I mean, I certainly haven't. Nothing on the Kanye level, right? Like, I can't, you know, everyone's had a depressive spat or whatever. I'm not going to pretend that I've been up here. But it's behavior you can observe in people. And if you haven't... not necessarily, I guess, a sympathy, but an understanding of the ways in which this can affect your decision-making. There is a kind of sense to it, right? There's a through line. I guess, in my opinion, one of the best ways of sympathizing with experiences that are totally alien to you is to find a parallel to your own experiences, right? So, for example, with like gender dysphoria, you know, Most people don't experience gender dysphoria as experienced by trans people, but I bet you most people have experienced some variation of like looking in the mirror and thinking, my body doesn't look the way it ought to. I've seen in like pictures and movies and stuff like that's what the male or female body is supposed to look like, and I'm not quite matching up to that because maybe you're too fat or not muscular enough or whatever. And then like you feel a bit bad, but you don't feel bad in like a, oh, I could be better kind of way. You feel bad in more of a like, there's something fundamental that I'm missing here kind of way, that sort of thing. I think everyone's had, it's just a normal human like pang of insecurity thing, I think. But I think I think that in a way that's kind of like a parallel in a way that you can latch on to try to, you know, sympathize with others' experiences. I wonder how people are reacting to this. At Vosh, Greg Bovino to leave Minnesota immediately. That's really fascinating. However, as you might have noticed, I'm actually talking about something else right now. What are you on about? I'm already under siege right now from my beautiful partner who's talking about some unrelated shit while I'm talking about this. Sheesh. I wonder how people are responding to this. Is the Breakfast Club copyright? Are they content ID? They probably are, right? Because they're like a big syndicated.
I do want to mention this because this is just breaking some Kanye.
That's a shame. I'm kind of curious what the take is, you know? Risk it? I'm not going to risk it. Just play audio. That's content ID as well. Yeah, I don't see any coverage here. Just this.
Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is apologizing for his anti-Semitic remarks and other outlandish behavior in recent years. The rapper bought an ad in the Wall Street Journal to publish a letter titled, "To Those I've Hurt." Ye has bipolar disorder that he now attributes to undiagnosed brain damage from a car crash 25 years ago. The Chicago rapper wrote in the published letter that he, quote, lost touch with reality and said and did things that he deeply regrets.
Well, all right.
West took things got worse in the state that he down. I love it.
I haven't read the letter yet. I just heard.
Camera in a better place with co-parenting. Yes. So
salute to that brother.
Yeah. So that's telling you to beware of the dog.
Well, I wasn't able to get very much by gleaning the TL on that one. He dropping a new album. New album must be dropping soon. Person that constantly apologizes never changes. Treats apologies like shit. Seems like people are pretty cynical, at least here.
Oh, that's
because we haven't seen Kanye in a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's been doing the work on himself, and that's why we haven't seen him. And
why does it feel like one of those things from somebody who's about to have a huge sex scandal drop? If you're about to have a huge sex scandal drop, you pivot towards the right. He's doing the opposite here. Literally, nobody would ever try to distract from any kind of sexual impropriety by moving to the left. That's the opposite of what you need to do. Did he apologize to Taylor? I mean, if he was going to do stuff like that, I assume it would be, you know, interpersonal, not through the Wall Street Journal. No, we'll see. Yeah, he probably has a lot of people he needs to apologize to. All right. I really don't think the left simps for Taylor Swift nuts. That's a liberal thing. Some reports the White House is getting frustrated with Miller. Well, that is interesting. Okay. Okay. Can I get the full Wall Street Journal article then? ICE will be conducting enforcement at the Super Bowl. Interesting. Can I hold on? Wall Street Journal. Should I get a Wall Street Journal pass? I can't get through it the way I can the New York Times. Girl, the 12foot.io thing does not work on everything. It really depends on the always use an archive website. PBS is fine. Not this time. We're talking about an exclusive article. Can somebody please pull for me the full article in which these quotes can be found? I would like that very much. Archive.fo works well. Then do it for me. Work, slave. We're laborers, not slaves. Pay us. You're a white name. You've been getting free entertainment, okay? None of you have it? None of you have it. Jesus Christ. Fine, I'll do it. Stand strong, give nothing. Loading. 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 It doesn't work when I do it. This is why I wanted you to do it. Wow, it really isn't loading. Why does it not work when I try to do it? This is why I let you guys do it. Bosh? Yeah, thank you. Is this the right article? I don't think this is the right article. It's the exclusive article right now on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. This is the wrong article. I pay you, Vosh, to not be a cheapo. Do you really want your money going over to the Wall Street Journal? This is the article in question, I think. Here. Thank you. It didn't work when I did it. It didn't work when I did it. Wait, this might not be the right article. Wait, it is. It is. It is. We did it. We did it, boys. Okay. Now we can do a segment. Well done. Let me just get that Reuters article up. We're pulling from all sources today. Minus 2,000 viewers. Yeah. So you guys don't have the guts to stick around and watch the real journalistic rigor get practiced. All right. This is why you'll never be LSF certified. You're right. I'll never have the discipline and intellectual rigor of Asmongold. Watching the sausage get made, it's not easy. It's not easy. Okay. Watch me do journalism. Watch me summarize a bunch of information. So, right now, ICE is having its back broken in Minnesota. I've gotten some criticism for saying that because right now the evidence seems to suggest that they're in fact running amok, doing whatever the hell they want. But if you pay attention, you know, the cracks are beginning to show. And there's a bunch of reasons for this. So for one, and this is widely reported but can never be discussed enough, the morale of these agents is plummeting. For one, they are working long hours. They are their accommodations are terrible. They are despised everywhere they go. You cannot step outside in Minnesota as an ICE officer without Will Stansel, Imam Will Stansel, what the hell? Running out there and screeching a fatwa at you from a bullhorn, okay? Armies of Minnesotans chase you down to every goddamn stop. You get chased out of neighborhoods. You can't get anything done. What they were trying to do was a coordinated onslaught of kidnappings, which was the only way they could get the deportation numbers up and also consolidate political power. See, this whole effort, this ICE crackdown, is being ideologically motivated by one of the three big wings in the White House. And that wing, of course, is Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is just a white nationalist. He actually believes in it. He is a degenerate freak, an ugly fucking Hitlerite. All he wants is a white America. That's it. Like everything else is secondary to him. That is the one thing that he has been pushing for. An article came out recently on New Republic, inside Stephen Miller's dark plot to build a MAGA terror state. And here's like a scary drawing of him. See, so it's, you should hate him, right? Here are some quotes from that article. Here's the thing. Miller's mission of boosting deportation numbers of necessity requires arresting people who are not criminals or gang members, people who have jobs and have become integrated into U.S. communities, because there is no other way to get the removals up, but it makes us less safe. Miller plainly places more importance on reducing the totals of people here or trying to get here than on removing people who pose any actual danger. Obvious stuff, right? He appears to be actively prioritizing shifting the ethnic mix of our country over public safety. Miller's alternative is a horror. He has set in motion a vicious math problem. His deportation machinery is arresting people faster than they are being removed. Much faster, by the way. We don't have places to hold them. To hold them, he's now looking to build out a network of vast warehouses. We're going to end up with a massively expanded immigrant carceral state at an enormous cost to all of us, both in taxpayer dollars and in the searing social conflict that Miller's mass stormtroopers have unleashed in the streets of U.S. cities. I mean, it is just death camp stuff. That is what Miller envisions. But Miller's vision of an all-white America, which is, and by the way, it's not like, I hope everyone understands, this is not like conspiratorial to suggest this. We literally have quotes from within the Trump administration in his first term where Trump jokes about Stephen Miller being a white nationalist. You've seen that quote, right? If Miller had his way, everyone here would look like him. Stephen Miller admitting it, saying, yes, they would. Or Trump claiming that like Miller needs to back off this because he's going too far. Like this is the one thing that he cares about. And what happens when it becomes too expensive? Well, that's the thing, right? That's the good news. As bad as things are right now in Minnesota, and keep in mind, it's only Minnesota, dog. It's not LA, it's not New York, it's not Chicago, it's not Philadelphia, it's not Seattle, it's not Portland, it's Minnesota, right? It's not a big blue state, it's a purple state, and it's certainly not the biggest metropolitan area in the country. But even then, the cracks are beginning to show. For one, as has been pointed out, Bovino, the 5-foot-tall lesbian Nazi stormtrooper, is being pulled out of Minnesota, which is a clear sign, a concession from the administration. But in addition, there was a recent conversation between Trump and Governor Walz in which Trump expressed grievance for the recently departed, for Alex Pretty. This morning they talked on call and had, quote, a productive discussion on immigration enforcement in a possible sign that Trump might consider de-escalating a surge of agents who have killed two U.S. citizens in the state. Trump said, and this is incredible to me, he was on a similar wavelength with the Democratic governor. So we know that, like, Trump is barely kept in the loop on what is going on day to day in this country. He's fed information only as he needs it to defend himself against the media, and he reflexively defends anything he doesn't have any information on. Like how, when the Renee Good murder video was shown to him for the first time at his own behest, he asked his aides to bring forward that video. He looked at it and went, Literally, he was like, it's very clear. She tried to run him over. Come, I'll show you. They watched the video and he's like, that's terrible. You know, that literally happened to New York Times reporters. Likewise with this, he has made conciliatory statements here too. And that's because, like, Trump is many things, but he's just not like a white nationalist or an ideological neo-Nazi. He's a pedophile and a narcissist and a megalomaniac, but he's not Miller. He's also not very smart, so he's not very good at keeping message discipline. If he falters, he's not going to be like Miller or Vance or, Noam or whatever, or Levitt, who would all, even if in a moment they felt like a glimmer of sympathy for the murder victim, they would instantly suppress it because they know they have to keep the narrative strong. For Trump, he'll just say what's on his mind. Always. Always, 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 always. Trump said he would consider reducing the number of immigration agents in the state. This is huge. It looks like, at least as of now, Pam Bondi is not going to get what she wants, which is the voter records as a condition of leaving Minnesota, which makes me think that that requirement was prompted from her by Miller or by J.D. Vance in an effort to get some kind of best case scenario pullout from Minnesota. In my opinion, it was Miller. And I think the reason why is because Miller realizes that he is running out the clock in Minnesota. His insistence on directing ICE there, and he is the one directing ICE. It's not Kristi Noem, it's Miller. Miller is the one making these directions. I think he realizes that he's testing everyone's patience. Here, finally, the article that I begged you guys to get me an archive today, link for. Trump says administration is reviewing everything about Minneapolis shooting. President says in interview, immigration enforcement officers will at some point leave the area. Trump declined to say whether the federal officer who fatally shot a man in Minnesota this weekend had acted appropriately and said the administration was reviewing the incident. In a 5-minute telephone call with the Wall Street Journal on Sunday, Trump didn't directly answer when asked twice whether the officer who shot Alex Pretty had done the right thing. Pressed further, the president said, we're reviewing everything, and we'll come out with a determination. Administration officials have publicly defended the officer. Everyone in the Trump administration has defended the officer, but Trump. Trump is the only one who has faltered here, because he's the only one old and stupid enough to not understand that overwhelming message discipline is the only way out at this point. He's the only person who doesn't, because Trump will never double down for a position that isn't his own. He'll just say what he believes. If he doesn't believe in something, he is not going to go out on a limb defending it. I don't like any shooting. I don't like it, Trump added. But I don't like it when someone goes into a protest and he's got a very powerful, fully loaded gun with 2 magazines loaded up with bullets either. That doesn't play good either. He also signaled a willingness to eventually withdraw immigration enforcement officials from the Minneapolis area. At some point, we will leave. They've done a phenomenal job, he said. Trump didn't offer a time frame for when agents might depart. Asked if agents would leave soon, he praised what the administration had already done in Minnesota and said, "We'll leave a different group of people there for the financial fraud." Is it at all possible he's been taken for a ride by his yes men? Yes, that's what I've been saying this whole time. Trump has no agency at all in this administration. It's just people around him trying to use his public mandate and ride it as far as they can. That's it. The only reason this hasn't fallen off completely is because the media is in line with the oligarchs who are trying desperately to keep these narratives afloat. It's the big three. Miller is a neo-Nazi, and he wants what neo-Nazis want. Trains, death camps, surveillance state, etc. J.D. Vance, he's the big Silicon Valley Peter Thiel Heritage Foundation guy. What he wants is a long-term, sustainable surveillance state and de-democratization of America. You know? Silicon Valley. The fact that I'm able to talk right now at all is a miracle. And then finally, the third, you have Marco Rubio, who just really, really, really wants to invade Cuba and Venezuela. Is it possible he realizes he's being taken for a ride? No. Trump is not that self-aware. And a narcissist would never, ever, ever allow themselves to be taken advantage of that way. They are not capable of it. Trump asserted that Preddy was carrying a very dangerous gun, a dangerous and unpredictable gun, adding, "It's a gun that goes off when people don't know it." It's so fucking funny. This is because the particular model of Sig Sauer he had has been involved in a lawsuit over misfires. But, it's such an internet discourse thing. The idea that anyone, what is it? Yeah, the P320? That anyone carrying the P320 is carrying, a fucking loaded bomb or something. It's the wrong Sig. Is it not even a P320? Whatever. Anyway. Hold on. There's an important bit here. Some of the president's aides have come to see the increasingly volatile situation in Minneapolis as a political liability, even as the White House has publicly doubled down on its operations in the city, according to admin officials. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles has taken repeated calls from Minnesota officials, the administration officials have said. In fact, I believe a Republican gubernatorial candidate actually recently dropped out because they didn't want to be associated with this. Am I correct in remembering that headline that I saw? Yeah, you know things are bad when it's getting to this state. Minnesota GOP candidate drops out of gubernatorial race, saying he can't support retribution by Republicans. Basically, he's like, I don't want anything to do with this, you know? Some in the administration worry that public polling and sentiment have turned against the administration's immigration actions in cities, and some discussions have centered on how to continue deportations without clashing with protesters, officials said. This is really, really interesting to me because it's proof, for one, that what's happening in Minnesota works from the protester side. It's a clear acknowledgement of the fact that this overwhelming wave of civilian opposition is damaging to them. And it's also an acknowledgement that their tactics aren't going to work at all, because there is basically nowhere in America that you could get away with doing this kind of ICE operation without public pushback. You know? ICE only gets away with their abductions these days when they're working on a small enough scale that they don't attract a bunch of pushback. What they're doing in Minneapolis wouldn't work in any other big city either. Unless you're in a shitty ass red state. Dude, unironically, they could try what they're doing right now in Nashville. I bet you it would fucking fail there too. Nashville has enough good people. Miami, it wouldn't work. I'm telling you, man. St. Louis, there basically every real city in the United States, I think there would be enough pushback. But they wouldn't want to do it in a red state anyway. Trump advisor Stephen Miller has continued to push for aggressive immigration enforcement, arguing the administration shouldn't back down in Minneapolis. It looks like he's getting more and more isolated. If he's the lone voice pushing for this, eventually people are going to start to turn on him. Trump fielded dozens of calls on Saturday about the shooting, advisors said, talking to senators and a range of administration officials. If I were President Trump, I would almost think about, okay, if the mayor and the governor are going to put our ICE officials in harm's way, and there's a chance of losing more innocent lives, then maybe go to another city and let the people of Minneapolis decide. Rep. James Comer, a Trump ally who serves as chairman of the House Oversight Committee, said on Fox News, profoundly retarded, but still a sign of weakness. Trump administration officials said they were planning to make a concerted effort in the coming weeks to improve ICE's image by highlighting what agents are doing in other places besides Minneapolis. Though officials have privately discussed polling showing the public is souring on their operations, many in the administration think that winding down their efforts in Minneapolis would amount to a capitulation to the left. Yeah, it would. It would. It objectively is. They're literally saying, we are losing on this front. We should back off. That is a loss. You are losing here. You are not backing out because you're done with your job, okay? Your job is to remove the non-white population. Anyway, I am enormously heartened by this. Enormously heartened. They are losing and they will continue to lose. Every week, support for their immigration enforcement goes down. Support for abolishing ICE goes up. They can't win this in the long run. Hitler sending ICE to Stalingrad type shit. Yep. Never underestimate Dems' abilities to fuck things up, though. Honestly, at this point, maybe that's for the best. If Democrats continue to meet the moment, maybe that's the evidence more and more people need that they are completely out of touch with the Democratic Party. The Republican Party does and says what their base wants, for the most part, you know? The Democratic Party does not. The average Democrat is massively dissatisfied with the effectiveness of their party. Hopefully that convinces people to push for change. Do you think this clip is evidence that Trump is moving away from Miller? Hold on.
To follow on Gabe's question, Secretary Noem said Alex Preddy committed an act of domestic terrorism. Stephen Miller labeled Preddy a domestic terrorist. Does the president agree with them?
Look, as I've said, I have not heard the president characterize Mr. Preddy in that way. However, I have heard the president say he wants to let the facts in the investigation lead itself.
Was he alarmed to hear his top officials referring to him in that way, rushing to that judgment?
Danny, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. On Stephen Miller's comments.
Ignoring that question. How interesting. Don't want to draw too much attention to the schism in the White House?
Going to Minnesota. Is Gregory Bovino also going to remain in Minnesota overseeing these ICE operations?
Mr. Bovino is a wonderful man and he's a great professional. He is going to very much continue to lead Customs and Border Patrol throughout and across the country. Mr. Homan will be the main point of contact on the ground in Minneapolis.
And to follow up,
I wonder if it occurred to them that it's really bad optics to have a 5-foot-tall Nazi freak running around, parading with ICE officers. Like, literally, the guy who is most known for dressing like a Nazi. Like, he dresses in SS cosplay. Yeah, that's the guy we're going to send. He's about as charismatic as Tom Homan. He just looks worse, which is crazy because Tom Homan looks like an inbred ogre. ICE has already received $75 billion from Trump's Big Beautiful Bill passed last year, which could potentially sustain operations for years without new appropriations. Not entirely how it works, but it's not really about the funding they receive. ICE has more money they could give to people if people were willing to sign up. People aren't willing to sign up. That's the reason why they have dropped like the requirements so far in getting people on board. If things go our way, no amount of money will save that organization. You ready for another government shutdown? Yes. I hope so. Round 2, baby. Ready to be disappointed again? Yes, sir.
White House officials say ICE agents will be at the Super Bowl this year. The big game is coming to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara in February. Special government employees at the Department of Homeland Security, Corey Lewandowski,
This is going to go well.
made the comments on a podcast saying there is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in the country illegally. Not the Super Bowl, not anywhere else.
I like the implication, like if this makes any sense. Yeah, illegal immigrants are gonna just hide out at the Super Bowl. What, indefinitely? Like they live there? There's nowhere for you to run, nowhere for you to hide. What are they staying there like long term? I hope they make an insane crackdown. Non-zero chance one of the ICE agents at the Super Bowl gets got by a drunk fan. Please cover what Bad Bunny's doing. It's so based. Well, what are they doing, you fucking vague poster? What are you, a Twitter user? Bad Bunny to reportedly push queer icons during Super Bowl. TPUSA halftime show still on. Why the fuck are we talking about the TPUSA halftime show? Kirk's dead. We don't have to pretend there's an equivalent here. Yeah, man. The defunct, popularity waning conservative grift org is definitely the thing based on debating fucking college students. That's definitely going to compete with the Super Bowl. Carol G is going to be there. I don't know what that means, but hell yeah. The rappers reportedly decided to use the opportunity to promote and honor Latin queer icons. Oh, wait. This is the Christian Broadcasting Network. I didn't even realize what site that I was on. Ay. No wonder they're mad. And talking about TPUSA. God, Christians are awful. NFL and NASCAR both went woke. It turns out it's actually a really bad idea to pivot to support for the organization that openly despises black and brown people, when black and brown people make up a significant portion of your supporter base of support, you know? Your Seahawks are at the Super Bowl? Nice. I don't really care, but cool. My tummy hurts. Did you see this chart on the prices of consumer goods, capitalism at its finest? Well, sure, it's not the first time I've seen this chart. They've been making and updating this chart like monthly for years. Oh, look, all the necessities went up. To an extent, yeah. New cars, 25.8%. Household furnishing operations. Clothing's basically the same cost. Unfortunately, stuff like this doesn't really, it doesn't really tell you the whole picture, you know? So if something has gotten more expensive, that doesn't really tell you how often people use it. So, for example, imagine hospital services stayed the same price, but due to the way the medical system worked, you were prompted to pay those prices more often. Or like you could say medication has stayed the same price, but it was only a tiny portion of what you paid, but you have to do more doctor's visits. It's more complicated than just like flatly what things cost. Kind of meaningless without wages. Well, average hourly wages are right here. But even then, average in what way? You know, average hourly wages in what way? It's like mean, median. You got a K-shaped economy, buddy. Things are going great for the top 10%. It is true that TVs are crazy cheap. I was at Costco the other day, saw like a 112-inch TV screen, enormous, the size of a wall, $1,500. That's crazy. That's like 64 gigabytes of RAM right now. It's insane. Yeah, whatever. No, I did not, Simavenza. Toys are still a thing. I mean, one of the big reasons that toys have decreased in price, apart from China, obviously, is that, yeah, do kids even play with toys anymore or just iPads? I don't know. I don't have a kid, right? What the fuck is a toy at this point? I don't really know. Like Legos? Legos are all marketed to adults these days. I don't really know what counts as a toy. I mean, Legos are definitely toys. I just mean like, what are we folding into that? Do kids play with action figures anymore? I feel like a lot of toys have to be pretty boring in comparison to the infinite wonder of the internet. Instantly melt your brain. I don't know. I think Labubus are considered toys. They're more like a keychain accessory. Anyway, there is one more important thing that we have to talk about before I give my throat a rest. Just sorry, guys. I suck too much dick. What can I say? I'm the glizzy gulper. I got standards to meet. One second. Okay. So we did it, guys. We entered the bad timeline. This has been, this deal has been coasting for years. We've been waiting for a resolution to this. As you all might remember, weren't we here already? No. We were not here up until this point. Everything was fine until now. TikTok, it's about TikTok. So as you might all recall, TikTok very, very quickly and very unprecedentedly became the subject of a bipartisan concern about national security. The idea was that it's bad and evil for China to own a U.S. social media app. Now, was China harvesting data? Sure, no more than other social media companies were, you know, pretty much the exact same. The real concern, of course, as so kindly outlined by Mitt Romney in one related interview, he said the real concern was that young people were seeing too much anti-Israel stuff on TikTok because China indirectly controlled TikTok. They could not control the algorithm, and they did not like the fact that young people were seeing the unmitigated horror and brutality of the Israeli genocide in Palestine day after day on their feed. So they wanted to acquire it. And this, by the way, this was a bipartisan effort. Remember, all of this kicked off under Biden. Biden facilitated this opening deal, this effort to force ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, to sell off their U.S. portion. Basically, the argument was the TikTok can continue to exist in the United States if the U.S. portion of the website is controlled by the United States. Remember how right before Trump took office, TikTok went down for a bit, but then came back up, and every single TikTok user got a prompt saying, thanks to the glorious leadership of President Donald Trump, we have been able to restore TikTok for everyone? Well, unfortunately, that acquisition deal has finally gone through, and it's as bad as or worse than you think it could have been. TikTok announces it has finalized the deal to establish U.S. entity sidestepping ban. Majority U.S.-owned venture includes Larry Ellison's Oracle, private equity group Silver Lake, and Abu Dhabi's MJX. So, yeah. 3 days ago, they have finally managed to acquire the U.S. portion of TikTok. And instantly, they cracked down with the censorship. It took them no time at all. Rather than spending weeks or months carefully curtailing the algorithm to develop a sophisticated understanding of how to best control it, they pulled an Elon Musk and pulled the reins in sharply. Shortly after they took control of TikTok, a significant number of videos covering the murder of Alex Preddy were censored. Like that. Took no time at all. Thousands, millions of anti-ICE videos, basically anything criticizing ICE, Trump, whatever, overwhelming wave of censorship. Throngs of TikTok users say the social media platform suppressed or delayed videos about the fatal shooting of a Minneapolis man by federal immigration personnel, alleging posts tied to the incident drew far fewer views or were stalled amid broader technical issues on the site. It is quite bad. Like, you can, if you go on TikTok right now to the latest videos from your preferred left-of-center content creator, you will see what it looks like. Here's one from Popstanox, just like a cute little insight into what's going on over there. After the forced sale of TikTok to U.S. owners was finalized, the Democrats' official TikTok account has had their upload suppressed, going from millions of views per post to 0 on their latest short. That's pretty funny, like literally just 0 over there. Now, how reliable is this? It's a single claim, a single anecdote. Genuinely, I don't know. But the claims of censorship are overwhelming. The word Epstein has been censored. It's ridiculous. Cool. The word Epstein has been censored. Neat. I've seen it from multiple people too. Yeah, no, there's no conspiracy posting on this. It is very, very, very straightforward. From what I understand, the app is just broken right now. Yeah, in all likelihood, because in an effort to immediately slam down their new censorious algorithm, they just broke it. Like, again, this is Larry Ellison we're talking about. These people are evil and retarded. Probably he racing the nanosecond he got in charge, he was like, any criticism of Israel banned, just slam it in, chew on the wires, whatever, you know. Exactly. It's just like how whenever Elon wanted to make a change to Grok, he made it in such a stupid and ham-fisted way that it was immediately obvious what he was doing. This is nightmarish. Yes, no, this is state censorship. It's overwhelming and incredibly like ham-handed, you know. Fuck off. Whatever. We were on the Washington Post article anyway. Some said their posts about the deadly encounter stalled, while others complained their videos received a fraction of their normal viewership. Many accused the tech company of silencing them under a hashtag TikTok censorship hashtag on X, formerly known as Twitter, Blue Sky, and Facebook. Critics included singer Billie Eilish, who posted TikTok is silencing people, by the way, on her Instagram account, after her brother Phineas O'Connell posted a TikTok video about Alex Pretty's death that reached fewer viewers than usual. Phineas's video had 0 views. 0. Jesus. Look at that. She's been outspoken. Why the fuck aren't other celebrities focusing on this? This just happened. This just happened. Like, we're talking about a set of changes that have been implemented over just a couple of days. And we all know exactly what they want, what they're going to do. Larry Ellison is a far-right oligarch who dreams of living on an island raping children. He's a freak, you know? And of course, like all pedophilic freaks, he's a supporter of Israel. He's donated tens of millions of dollars to organizations supporting Israel. Total deep state shit, you know, along with Oracle and all this other bullshit. Absolutely insane. Oh my God, Larry Ellison has offered Netanyahu a board seat at Oracle. The same year, Netanyahu and his family vacationed on Lanai, an island Ellison owns in Hawaii. Perfect. Every fucking time. I hate the deep state. I hate the deep state. I hate the deep state. I hate the deep state so much. I hate it so much, man. I hate it so fucking much. I hate the deep state so goddamn much. Ellison has been married 6 times. Cool. Is Oracle like handling the IT work for Palantir? What does Oracle do specifically? I don't think anybody knows what Oracle does specifically. Why is it always like this? Because it's the deep state. Yep, owns 98% of the land on Lanai, the 6th largest of the Hawaiian Islands. Worth a clean $250 billion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He does look pretty phenomenal for 81. This is him at 71. It is true. That adrenochrome really do be hitting. He's had plastic surgery? Of course he has. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Censorship. David Levitt, a freelance writer, said 2 of the 3 videos he posted on TikTok the day after the change of ownership received an ineligible for recommendation label. One of them poked fun at Donald Trump, while the other showed footage of anti-ICE protesters filling the streets of Minneapolis. The only way to view the videos is to have a direct link or visit my profile, then click them. Normal followers or people on the For You page would... Neither followers or people on the For You page would see them from normal scrolling. Cool. I don't think this is going to work out the way they want. This is too ham-fisted and will backfire. I think I agree. Yeah, this is like really, really, really stupid. You know what I'm reminded of? I keep thinking about it. I'm reminded of Nick Fuentes saying that Epstein was based and that the ICE crackdown in Minneapolis has nothing to do with Israel. You know? I wonder if there's ever going to be a wider turnabout in the neo-Nazis online, the people who are like, you know, it's based in red pilled for ICE to crack on the skulls of immigrants or whatever, that all of this is deeply Israeli. Censorship, deeply Israeli. ICE crackdown, anti-immigration, policing in general, deeply Israeli. There's just no separating these roots. Like, all of this ties back to the deep state, the real, actual, capital D, capital S deep state. How do you say it doesn't, you know? Every single time something happens that advances your interests, it's being advanced by a fucking shadowy legion of hyper-billionaires that are all, like, very openly doing what they're doing. Like, it's not fucking secretive at all. The biggest conspiracy of, or actually the biggest misconception about conspiracism on this one is that you're looking for like deep signs. Larry Ellison's just running around wearing an I love Israel, I love deep state surveillance t-shirt while buying up everything in the United States. It's fucking... A White House spokesperson said in a statement that the White House is not involved in, nor has it made requests related to TikTok's content moderation. Holy shit, that's funny. I have not curated the TikTok algorithm to favor the state t-shirt is raising questions that are answered by the t-shirt. Steve Vladek, a Georgetown law professor, said in a Blue Sky post on Sunday that a video he uploaded to TikTok criticizing the Department of Homeland Security had been under review for 9 hours and still couldn't be shared. I saw this post from Chris Murphy. I know it's hard to track all the threats to democracy out there right now, but this is at the top of the list. Yep. Ineligible for recommendation. Ineligible for recommendation. I actually believe that the ghouls are so in sync, the White House and their agenda, they don't need orders. That I think is terrifying. Well, keep in mind that like Larry Ellison is one of the deep state oligarchs that the White House bends to. Like he's one of the guys, right? All of this is being done to a large extent on his behalf. He wants blood and he wants children and he wants, you know, massive, like the scythe of the reaper sweeping over the population of the world, you know, reducing it by billions. He wants death on a scale we can't comprehend. The administration is just like they're taskmasters, really. The only reason Musk isn't still one of the guys in the same way is because he's so boorish and obnoxious. Everyone kicked him out early. Yeah, also, Musk wasn't smart enough to really, like, diversify his assets in a way that connected him with the deep state, you know? The closest he has is Grok, unironically, right? And to a lesser extent, Starlink. But apart from that, overwhelmingly, his money is in Tesla. And, like, yeah, Tesla is very overvalued, but it's not like, you know, it's not the architecture of the New World Order. He has the money. If he wanted to, he could blanket the world, but he's not smart enough. Maybe he will be in the future. Sorry, I don't have like a non-angry segue from this. I don't have like a I don't have like a follow through, I guess. It's pretty bad. I guess it's funny they did it that badly, you know? Ellison is suing Warner Bros. For choosing Netflix over their deal. He's so pissed he won't own all of Hollywood. Yeah, no, they want the world. That's why I keep saying it's the difference between corporatists and oligarchs. Corporatists understand that a little bit of phony competition is important for keeping things stable. Oligarchs want to own the world. Integrating Grok into the Pentagon? Yeah, I saw that. Integrating XAI into our military networks as part of an AI acceleration strategy. Yeah. Isn't that terrifying? Yeah. Why is Musk not in the deep state, but like Larry Ellison is? Well, Musk kind of is in the deep state. It's just he's really stupid, and it keeps him out. I genuinely think that if Elon Musk was of average intelligence, 20, 30 points higher, and he didn't tweet all the time, and he diversified his assets so not all of his money was pooled in fucking Tesla, I think that he would, like he's obscenely wealthy. He, on his own, is wealthier than, like, a lot of countries. It's crazy. He has so much. I remember you mentioning before that a Palantir surveillance state totalitarian doesn't exist in the world despite everything going on. I'm not sure what you mean. They want to build that. Like I have said before, okay? Basically, everyone in power right now, Republican, Democrat, corporatist, and oligarch, think that democracy is on the way out. Uniform international democracy is an experiment that has lasted at most about 200 years, and the incredible accumulation of capital in the hands of a very, 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 very small and elite few, along with future pressures like economic collapse, the debt crisis, and climate change, have convinced many in power that they are at the end of days. This has always been a common opinion of the elite, by the way, as they are driven in madness towards paranoia and conspiracy. With their infinite wealth, they could fix these problems. They choose not to. Many of them don't even understand that's a possibility. Much in the same way that the incredible wealth of the French aristocracy, the royalty, could have fixed many of the problems that led to their own beheading. But they didn't. The Democrats also think that we're at the end times. Many of them just think that they're more responsible facilitators of the end times. They're the more competent stewards. But what basically all of the people in power have agreed privately behind closed doors is that there is an inevitable tract, right? A historical timeline that is going to be fulfilled. And that is one of the Palantir surveillance state. That AI has finally enabled what people have long wanted, which is a way to manage the cripplingly large bureaucracy that you would need to run a police state. Now, for a police state, you don't actually need like 10% of your population on board day in, day out, doing what had to happen in the Soviet Union or in Nazi Germany. Now, you can use algorithms to achieve the same or somewhat of the same outcome, and you can responsibly facilitate a shift away from democracy. I think that's what they're banking on. Democrats also think it's happening. That's why Democrats won't cut ICE. That's why Democrats won't stop working with AI or Palantir. That's why Democrats won't divest from or meaningfully oppose any of these systems that are causing these problems, because they think that their job is to manage their inevitable implementation more responsibly. So yeah, anyway, that's why, yeah, that's what's happening, I guess. Do you have a source on this so we can look it up? Yeah, I do. Vosh.gg. And what could even be done about that? Sure. I don't think that their so-called stable project can actually work. I think that what they're trying to do is doomed. I think that they are, in their desperation, looking for a way out, an alternative to democracy, because democracy can no longer pacify the people, and they're going to fail. I think that what they are trying to do will cause great suffering, but it will fail. It is not a stable social point. In my opinion. TikTok CEO? Who? What are we talking about?
Change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if
this is an older clip. This is an older clip. This is not Also, I believe the link that you have procured is from neo-Nazi. No, maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Recently resurfaced clip? Is that what we're talking about? Well, what is the name of this fella? Because I don't recognize him based on his face.
Somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have...
This is useless with no information on the person. This could just be any guy. Anyway. Probably US rep for TikTok, sure, but I need more information than this hazy... This is Adam Presser, the new CEO, I believe. Well, it's no surprise to me that who they put in charge of US TikTok is a Zionist, considering Larry Ellison is a giga-Zionist. Yes, okay, that is Adam Presser. Yes, yes. No, whatever. We'll continue to follow everything. What's the title here? What's the title here? Deep state regime seizes TikTok. Bans opposition. I don't know. It's so much. I feel like one thing that I need to get better at as a YouTuber is I need to split up segments. I feel like I will make one video on a topic, and as a consequence, the title is really vague because it's not like a bunch of individual stuff inside of it. And I don't do follow-ups, you know? Deep state acquires TikTok, immediately censors opposition. We'll go with that for now. The vague titles are terrible for knowing what the video is actually about. Yeah, that's why people click. Like, sorry, it's literally your fault. I love your longer segments. Please make more of them. I feel like my segments tend to be like 20 to 40 minutes, right? They're relatively long. It's always the full VODs. Vosh looks like hold on. Loudest fucking kitchen in the world, man. Vosh looks like he types with his goddamn index fingers. Yes. Yes, I do. Sorry, I would be streaming for longer today, but I do have a sore throat, and I don't want to make that worse. So I think that I will do donations. I will be the strongest man who has ever lived, and I will do donations. I mean, like, even longer? Look, I like making longer segments, you know? The problem is that except for certain types of video response segments, people often just don't watch them for that long. You know? People, the viewership tends to fall off relatively quickly, which is normal. I mean, I do that exact same thing when I'm watching longer videos, especially political videos, once I feel like I have the info that I need. Why does the police state work in the Middle East and China, but not the United States? I think it's due to our robust civil society. As fucked as the average American peasant brain is, we in America, for basically the entire history of our country, we have, at the very least, believed strongly that we are a democracy, which means that we have a very strong cultural aversion to certain types of imagery and certain types of policy. That does not mean we have not done insanely authoritarian shit. We obviously have. But usually, even in those bad times, there was a specific rhetorical. How do I put this? I think that tribalism, by default, prompts people to make the argument that certain groups of people are just better or worse than others, and that there are natural orders in society that people fit into, you know? But in America, for the most part, even during the Jim Crow days, the most popular argument that we have made about our own bigotries is a meritocratic one. Even today, our fascists speak of meritocracy. As I've said before, the pure racist thinks that other races are worse because they are, because of a spiritual deficit, right? That is the pure racist. They are not motivated by reason. It's only feelings. The meritocratic racist has to invent arguments about IQ differences. They have to talk about the innate, not just spiritual inferiority or superiority of different races, but rather like, oh, well, actually, the reason I don't like this group of people is because of their test scores. Like, really? That's why it's a pretense and it's phony, but it's an indication of an underlying priority, the priority to rationalize bigotry. And if you're trying to rationalize it, that means you find it insufficient to merely leave it irrational. And if you find it insufficient to leave it irrational, that probably means you're appealing to some kind of broader ideology about merit or freedom or social worth. In the United States, our bigotry is very, 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 very meritocratic. Historically, people for the most part have to be sold hatred on the idea that they're doing something to deserve it. And I think that is not unique to America, but it's not as common in countries that have not had a history of democracy, right? Like you don't have a civil society basis to the idea that there has to be a reason to crack down on a group of people. Like even now, the administration is pretending that it's going after illegal immigrants or like violent offenders or rapists or pedophiles. Again, I ask you, if the administration was acting, rhetorically at least, out of a pure racist intent, why wouldn't they just say they're getting rid of black people because they're getting rid of black people? Why all this legal business of like, oh, they've broken the law, you know? Oh, they're rapists and pedophiles. You shouldn't care. Does that make sense? Anyway, we're not unique in this regard, but unfortunately in countries like Iran, Egypt, China, they just haven't had that history, I think. But they could. I think that once people get comfortable enough, they become more and more intolerant of that kind of brutality. You know, I think that historical progress does arc in a good direction there for the most part. Beast King CW, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Love you, Unk. Thank you. Hydroponic Maple, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. Joshman95, thank you for the $5. I asked Destiny if he thought Newsom would be as likely to go after MAGA criminals as a lefty, and he said yes. He has not covered the Shapiro-Newsom podcast. That's interesting. I wonder why he would say that. I don't think that Destiny is stupid enough to believe that Newsom isn't a cowardly little collaborationist, you know? I'm sure he understands this. I wonder why he would not make that argument. Crabo Crab, thank you for the very kind $15. There's a non-zero chance of ICE being here in Italy for the Olympics. Our interior minister said he'd be fine with it if they come. I'll be there. Wish me luck. I think you've got this, Crabo Crab. Just stay in the crowd. Don't throw no rocks. Orpy, thank you for the $5. Hey Vosh, loving the streams. Just wanted advice on getting a tuxedo or a suit. I'm going to a wedding in a couple months and I wanted your advice, good tailoring. That's a really big topic, especially to a guy whose throat is sore right now. If you're not replete with cash, you should probably just rent something rather than buying it. And you probably don't want to go with a tuxedo unless it specifically says in the wedding invite that it's a black tie dress code, which it probably doesn't. You probably have you know, cocktail attire tuxedo or suit requirement. Look, I would recommend going out there and finding inspo pics of people who you think look good in suits. Like content creators who focus on fashion, right? People who give advice, people who talk, you know, levelly at you. And I would recommend taking their advice. Try to look vintage, you know? Try to find stuff in vintage. You're more likely to be able to find, you'll easily be able to find nice button-up shirts, but also possibly a nice blazer, trousers. Yeah. Guys, unfortunately, like the reason I decided to end stream rather than continuing is because my throat really hurts and it's starting to feel a bit like I'm dragging my my throat through the mud by speaking. And now I'm finding it more and more difficult to read these dang donos. So I think I might actually read these donos later. I'm very sorry. I'll read them tomorrow. I just need to drink some water or whatever. Tomorrow? Yeah. I love you all very much. Everyone take care. Okay, rest up. It's fine. Listen, again, the only real problem long term, the only real issue is if I develop a cough. And so far, I have not developed a cough. Yeah, no fever, no cough, we're fine. A sore throat lasts a couple of days. For me, a cough has lasted months. Yeah, my partner did get me sick, by the way. 100% on them. I'm still doing my calisthenics practice. I'm carrying my health through. Look at this. Watch this. Okay? Check it. Wait. Check it. But look how far I can lean forward. Look at how far how far the knee goes past the foot while keeping your feet flat. I can do like this pretty easily now. Does that look like anything? It feels like something. I don't know if it looks like anything, but it does feel like something. It does feel like I'm doing a deep squat. Wait, you couldn't do that before? Whoa! It's you squat, but you're trying to bring your knees as far forward in front of your, like you're trying to like lean into it, but you keep your feet on the ground. Like lean into it. Like lean like that. Does that not hurt the back? No. Right now, the limiting factor right now is my ankles. It's the top of my ankles. Does squatting become difficult when you hit your early 30s? Ugh. I'm gonna fucking mog you guys, okay? I swear you laugh now. I'm gonna learn how to do a goddamn side split. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna do one of these days. I'm gonna be out here like this. I'm gonna be at whoa. How do I get out of this position? Here, wait. Whoa. One of these days. I think I'm more impressed by your calves hitting your thighs. Oh, I also tried to do the what is it called? The hero's pose? This is fucked up because I showed my partner that I was getting closer to doing it, and then they just did it in front of me like effortlessly. Superman pose? No. This one, right? It's where you like do that and then you. Whoa! I can't quite do it. Can't quite do it, but we're trying. That's a superhero pose. I didn't name it. I didn't choose the. All right, I'm gonna go. See you tomorrow.